Can you see my screen now?
Yes, Bu.
Okay. I think we can start because it's already 8 a.m. Today our session will be in English, but if you have questions and you prefer to ask in Bahasa, it's still okay, yeah. But let's try to use English, yeah. So this is the customs revenue target. If we see here, for customs, there are three types of revenue: import duty, export duty, and excise. Today, our focus will be on excise. Yeah. Why I show import duty and export duty? I would like to compare actually, to show you the comparison between the import duty, export duty, and excise revenue. And I hope today our class will be interactive. Yeah, not only me who will talk, yeah, but please also from your sides also. Yeah. So in here, yeah, if you look at the revenue target, probably we see the 2023 target. Yeah. Which revenue do you think give the most contribution to the revenue, to the customs revenue? Is it from import duty, export duty, or excise? Anyone would like to answer? What is the major revenue for Directorate General of Customs and Excise? Who wants to answer? If not, then I will call your name, yeah. Probably Nadira Keisa.
I'm sorry, Miss, I can hear your voice clearly.
Okay, so I repeat my question. The revenue for Directorate General of Customs and Excise coming from import duty, export duty, and excise. From this slide, yeah, if we look at year 2023, at the right side, you can see that's for the year 2023. Yeah. What is the major revenue for customs? What is the major revenue for customs? It is import duty, export duty, or excise?
I think it's the excise. Oh,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's correct. That's correct. My voice not clear, yeah.
Yes, Miss.
Okay, let me. Just a minute. Hello. Is it more clearer, or it's still the same?
I think it's still the same, Miss.
Hello. Can you hear my voice now? Hello.
Yeah,
Is it clearer? Lebih jelas gak?
yeah.
Lebih jelas ya? Oke. Yeah, so yes, you are right that the major revenue for customs coming from excise. Yeah, if we look at here, the number, this is in IDR trillion. Yeah, so the revenue target 2023, this is 245 trillion for excise. Yeah, while for the import duty, it is only 47 trillion, and then for export duty, 10 trillion. Okay, and at if we look at the color here, actually the target is 47 for import duty, but the realization until October 2023 is 36. Yeah, and then if we look at excise, the target is 245 trillion, but the realization is still 61%, which is 150 trillion. Okay, any questions from this? Yeah, so this is quite our dilemma situation, because for excise, as we know, it comes from certain goods. Yeah, in Indonesia, there are only 3 types of goods impose excise. Who knows what kind of goods will be imposed excise? Please, yeah, everyone to open your camera. Because this is will be recorded, yeah. Okay, who wants to answer what kind of goods are imposed excise? Rico, you want to try?
Yes, Ibu Ena, I think there's 3 main goods or product that imposed by excise. The first thing is tobacco, the second is alcohol, and the third is alcohol derivative. I think
Yes,
that's
yeah, thank you. That's right, yeah. So first is the tobacco products, yeah, including like cigarette, even right now electric cigarette also, yeah. And then second is the alcoholic drinks, and third is the ethyl alcohol. And then from those 3 products, who knows which one contribute more for the revenue? Is it tobacco products, alcoholic drinks, or ethyl alcohol?
Is the tobacco products.
Yes, correct. Tobacco products. Okay, and then the second is the alcoholic drinks, and the third is the ethyl alcohol. Yeah. The ethyl alcohol, usually many companies, they get exemption from the excise. Why? Because usually they use the ethyl alcohol for their further production process, not directly consumed. Okay, so you can see here, yeah, the import duty, export duty, and excise. And excise is the major revenue for customs. Yeah, even though this is quite dilemma, because the biggest revenue coming from tobacco products, while on the other hand, probably we would like to mitigate the consumption or decrease the consumption of tobacco products, especially cigarettes. But in fact, from government point of view, it contributes quite significant amount of revenue. Anyone wants to comment about this?
Yeah, Miss, and I would like to comment about this. So I think regarding that the excise contribute the biggest portion of customs revenue target, I think it's not a dilemma because we have to find out that the usage of tobacco first. That is my hypothesis is that there are a lot of Indonesian people that who is still use uh, tobacco for like smoking. So I think it's not a dilemma, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah. So how about if we like talk about the health, kesehatan ya? You mean it's not dilemma, so it means you support the use of tobacco for cigarettes?
Um, what I'm trying to say is, uh, you are previously mentioned that it is a dilemma because on another view that the government collect a big portion of revenue from the excise, but I think it's not a dilemma because the usage of this excise is because of there are still a lot of Indonesian people who are using tobacco for smoking. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Probably I just want to clarify why I mentioned a dilemma, because we look from two sides: the Ministry of Finance, yeah, and the Ministry of Health. Okay. Actually, what I understand from the advertisement also, we would like to decrease uh, the consumption of cigarettes, yeah, due to healthy issue. Yeah. But on the other hand, we also need this kind of revenue from the cigarette industry. That's what I mean. Mhm. So, do you agree that actually cigarettes will like create healthy issues?
Yes, I am agree, ma'am.
Yeah. That's why if we would like to decrease the consumption of cigarettes or tobacco products, then will it affect the excise revenue or not? Yeah. If you see the chart here from 2019, yeah, on the left side for excise, 2020, 21, 2022, you can see the trends that the excise revenue increased. Yeah, from time to time, it is increased by the government. So the increase is actually coming from the excise rates, which always increase every year, and also increase in the number of the consumer of the tobacco products. Ya, jadi kalau kita lihat dari tahun ke tahun itu excise cukai itu revenue-nya naik. Nah, ini dari dua faktor, yaitu memang kenaikan cukai dan juga kenaikan konsumen yang memakai tobacco products ini. Okay. Any question? If not, we will continue. So can you see my slide? Sudah tampak ya slide saya?
Ibu.
Ya. Sudah kelihatan ya? Okay. So this is exercise on tobacco product. So this is the regulation. So we discuss about the Ministry of Finance 192 and with its amendments 109 and 191. Yeah. So this is the tobacco products, yeah, in the form of cigarettes, cigars, leaf or husk cigarettes, and sliced tobacco. Yeah. So this is the definition. Yeah. Probably I need help from you to help me in reading this. Just a minute. Yeah. Probably Muhammad Ihwani, you can read number 1.
Okay, Miss, is my voice clear?
Yes, very clear.
Okay. I will read in 3, 2, 1. General explanation, Ministry of Finance, 192. First, tobacco products in the form of cigarettes, cigars, leaf or husk cigarettes, and sliced tobacco. It's enough or?
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Jadi cigarettes itu kalau dalam bahasa Indonesianya itu adalah rokok biasanya ya. Terus cigars itu cerutu. Leaf cigarettes itu rokok daun. Husk cigarette itu kayak klobot. Ya. Dan sliced tobacco itu ada disebutnya tembakau iris. Okay, next probably Renita can help. Probably you can read number 2.1 until point 1.
Number 2, cigarettes are tobacco product made from tobacco wrapped in paper by rolling for use, regardless of the substitute or auxiliary materials used in manufacture. I'm sorry, ma'am. Point 1, 2, 3, or just point 1?
Just point 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
1. Machine rolled kretek cigarettes or SKM are cigarettes that are mixed with cover or parts thereof, whether genuine or imitation, regardless of the quantity involved in the manufacture, starting from rolling, setting the filter, packaging in package for retail sales, of up to affixing excise stamps, wholly or partly using machines.
Ya. Jadi kalau kita lihat bahasa Indonesianya ini adalah rokok ya, itu dengan clove. Clove itu cengkih ya, cengkih. Nah, kemudian dia ini menggunakan mesin dalam pembuatannya dan dipakaikan filter. Ya. Jadi SKM itu sigaret kretek mesin. Sigaret kretek mesin. Nah, sekarang kita lihat, so we move to the next one about the sigaret putih mesin. Yeah, so probably Jason Anthony.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, number 2.2.
Number 2, machine-made white cigarettes, or SPM, are cigarettes which are made without any mixture of clove, rhubarb, or frankincense, the process of which is made from rolling, installing filters, packaging in packages for retail sales, up to affixing excise stamps in whole or in part. Use a machine.
Ya, ini kalau close kita we know close is a cengkeh, rhubarb this is bahasa is kelembak, sama frankincense ini semacam kemenyan, gitu ya. So this is the machine made white cigarette, sigaret putih mesin. So if we compare with point 1 about the cigarette kretek mesin, cigarette kretek mesin are using cengkeh, but cigarette putih doesn't use cloves or cengkeh. Okay, next is the hand rolled kretek cigarettes, sigaret kretek tangan atau SKT. Probably Lydia Mena.
Yes, Bu.
Can you help for point 3?
Okay, Bu. Point 3, hand-rolled kretek cigarettes or SKT are cigarettes which are mixed with cloves or parts thereof, whether genuine or imitation, regardless of the quantity, in the manufacturing process starting from rolling, packaging for retail sales, up to affixing excise stamps without using machine.
Yeah. So as the name is SKT, sigaret kretek tangan. So everything in the production they don't use a machine, yeah. Okay, so okay, this is the other types. So probably Delphia can help. Hello, Delphia, can you help? You are still on mute.
Remember, it's me.
Yes, point 4.
Filter hand-rolled kretek cigarettes, or SKTF, are cigarettes that are mixed with cloves or parts thereof, whether genuine or imitation, regardless of the quantity, in the manufacturing process starting from rolling, installing filters, packaging in package for retail sales, up to attaching excise stamps without using a machine.
Yeah. Okay. Next, probably Zakwan.
Yes, ma'am.
Point 5.
Okay, point 5. Handheld white cigarettes, or SPT, are cigarettes that are made without being mixed with cloves, rhubarb, or frankincense. The manufacturing process starts from rolling, packaging for retail sales, to attaching excise stamps without using machines.
Okay, thanks. And next, point 6. Iputu Naratama Wirachandra.
Oh, all right, ma'am. Point 6, hand-filtered white cigarettes, or SPTF, are cigarettes that are made without being mixed with cloves, rhubarb, or frankincense. The manufacturing process starts from rolling, installing filters, packing in packages for retail sales, up to attaching excise stamps without using machine.
Yes, thank you. Next is Nadira Keisa.
And Kemenyan rhubarb cigarettes or KLM are cigarettes that are mixed with rhubarb and or real or imitation frankincense, regardless of the amount.
Okay. And now this is the other types of tobacco products. Yeah, this is cigars, or in bahasa we know as cerutu. Yeah, cigars cerutu. Okay, Maria Ansila, probably you can help.
For number, sorry, ma'am,
The
three.
cigars.
The cigars or CRT are tobacco products made from sliced or unsliced sheets of tobacco leaves by rolling them in such a way as tobacco leaves for use regardless of the substitute or auxiliary materials used in their manufacture.
Thank you. Anyone here ever tried the cigars? Ya, cerutu kalau ini ya. Ya, usually ya old man ya using this cerutu. Okay, and then next the number 4 probably Kesa Anandia. Kesa?
Okay, number 4, cigarette leaves or husk are tobacco products made from palm leaves, corn leaves, or the like by rolling them for use, regardless for the substitute or auxiliary materials used in their manufacture.
Thank you. Next for the sliced tobacco atau tembakau iris, Sekina Glory.
Sliced tobacco is a tobacco product made from shredded tobacco leaves for use regardless of the substitute or auxiliary materials used in its manufacture.
Yes, thank you. And number 6, this is actually about the retail sales price. This is the retail sales price is the price as the basis for the calculating the amount of excise duty. Jadi harga jual eceran, ya. Retail selling price limit per stick or gram. Yeah, this is the range of retail selling price. Yeah, for each type of tobacco products produced by the group of tobacco product factory entrepreneurs or importers determined by the minister. What does it mean for number 7? So for number 7, it means that for the tobacco product factory entrepreneurs, yeah, they will be grouped. Yeah, there will be a grouping of the factory entrepreneurs. Yeah, why there are groupings? Because every group of entrepreneurs, they may have different excise rates. Yeah, so for example, one entrepreneurs they only produce 200 million sticks, but another factory they make billions of sticks, so the rates will be different. Yeah, the excess rates will be different. We will see in the next slide. Yeah, later. Yeah, so this is the market transaction price. Yeah, jadi harga jual pasaran. This is actually the suggestion. Yeah, for the sales transaction price at the final consumer level. Then this production quantity limit. This is actually relates with the production. the production results of each entrepreneur that will affect the excise rates. This is about the tobacco product brands. Yeah, this brands is also need to be registered or informed to customs. The excise rates for tobacco products will use rupiah for each unit of stick. So per stick or per gram of tobacco products. That's the excise rates, yeah. Based on the stick or gram of the tobacco products. So the amount of tobacco products excise rates will be based on three categories: the type of tobacco products, the business class, meaning the grouping of the entrepreneurs, and also the retail selling price limits per stick or gram. So this is the group or the category of entrepreneurs based on their tobacco products production within 1 year, the calendar year. So we can see here, based on the type of products, like the first one is the SKM, cigarette kretek mesin. Group 1, it is categorized as group 1 if they produce more than 3 billion sticks. And then SKM group 2, if not more than 3 billion sticks. They have SPM group 1 and group 2, SKT, SPT. The definition we can look at the previous slides. So there are 9 grouping. For the SKTF or SPTF, there is no group. So it means no limitation. For KLM, yes, there are 2 groups. And then for tembakau iris, rokok klobot and cerutu or cigars without group. So without limitation of quantity of production. Any questions for this grouping? Remember why we need to know this grouping of entrepreneurs, because the excise rate will be based on the grouping of the entrepreneurs and also the type of tobacco products, whether it is SKT, SKM, and then the business class or the entrepreneur grouping, and then next also the retail selling price per stick or gram. Okay, any questions? If not, we continue. So if we already know what kind of products, the SKM, for example, and then we know our company falls under first group, and then this is the retail selling price per stick. Then this is the excise rate per stick or per gram. So to calculate how much the excise rate, then we have to know first our company classified under which group, yeah, based on the type of products that we produce. Is it clear until now? Clear, yeah? This is the excise rates. Yeah, we can see from here. For number 4, for example, SKTF or SPTL, they don't have classification. Yeah. So how many sticks they produce? Yeah. If their retail selling price 2,260, and then this is the excise rates per stick or per gram. Okay. So if I ask probably Bima Alta.
Yes, miss.
Okay. So if I produce SPM and I fall under category 2, probably not SPM, SKM, I fall under category 2, yeah, and my selling price is 1,500. How much is my excise rates per stick? I produce SKM and I fall under category 2. My retail selling price 1,500, yeah, so 1,500. So how much is my excise rates per stick? You can see from the table that I showed right now. SKM, category 2. So how much?
Wait a minute, miss.
Yeah. You can see the screen. SKM, group 2.
746 rupiah.
Yes, 746 rupiah. Okay. So understand, yeah. This is the limitation on retail selling price. Yeah, if we import. So sorry, I didn't mention earlier that this list, yeah, limitation on selling price domestically manufactured. So it is separated if we produce in Indonesia or if we import the products. Yeah, this table, the previous table we discussed, this is if we produce domestically. Yeah, but if we import if we import SKM, SPM, yeah, then this is the tariff per stick. Okay. So looking at the table, yeah, and then we look at the grouping here, yeah, probably we can look at the SPM, SKT. So we can see here, yeah, that group 1 if more than 3 billion, but if not more than 3 billion, it's group 2. Okay, so we will see, yeah, or we'll analyze which excise rate higher. Is it for group 1 or group 2? Because for group 1, they produce more than 3 billion. But for group 2, less than 3 billion. So we will see whether the excise rate is higher for which group. Someone can help to explain, like for example, the SKM. From this table, what is the result of our analysis? Which one is higher, group 1 or group 2? In here, we look that the highest, the higher one is group 1. Yeah, the excess rate is 1,231, while group 2 only 746. Yeah, so it means the more we produce the cigarettes, then the higher the excise rate. Ya, jadi di sini kita lihat ya, semakin banyak produksinya, semakin tinggi excise-nya. Okay. So this is if we produce locally, and this is if we import. This is the excise tariff. So if we compare import and produce domestically, see the SKM and SPM. Okay. The same, yeah. The same, but they follow group 1. Like SKM produced domestically 1,231, SPM 1,336. The same if we import. Yeah. But they follow the group 1, not the group 2. Okay, any question? If no question, we continue. This is about the electronic cigarette, electric cigarette or electronic cigarette. Yeah. This is quite new, 2022. Yeah. Previously, we do not recognize this electric cigarette and other processed tobacco products. Yeah. But 2022, yeah, the government also imposed excise on the electronic cigarette and other processed tobacco products. This is the excise rate. Per gram, ada yang per gram, also per milliliter. Frankly speaking, I'm not so familiar with the products here. Probably anyone knows about these products. Molasses tobacco, snuff tobacco, chewing tobacco. Anyone have tried this one? Molasses tobacco. Anyone want to share about these products or familiar with this? Like for example, the electronic cigarette in the form of solid electronic cigarette. Ini biasanya dalam bentuk apa ya? Mungkin dalam bahasa Indonesia dulu. Ada yang bisa jelasin nggak? Solid electronic cigarette ini apa? Ini yang semacam vape bukan ya? Ada yang tahu? Oh iya, kalau di Google, kita Google, ini sepertinya yang sekarang saya lihat anak muda. I look at the youngsters now, they like hold something and then they hisap ya. It's like a stick. So there's open system liquid electronic cigarette, closed system liquid electronic cigarette. This is the excise rate. And then other processed tobacco products, we can see the molasses tobacco, snuff tobacco, and chewing tobacco. Okay. If no question, we move to the payment of excise. So I think for this, let's try, we read for each point, and then we can paraphrase what's the meaning of this sentence in bahasa. Aisyah Dwi Putri Maharani.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can you read the first bullet point and then you can explain to us in bahasa.
Okay, ma'am. Wait. So excise duty on accessible goods made for Indonesia is paid when the accessible goods are released from the factory or storage place. Mungkin secara garis besarnya aja kali ya, Bu. Jadi cukai atas barang kena cukai yang dibuat yang dibayarkan di Indonesia pada saat kena cukai tersebut dikeluarkan jadi cukai itu dibayarkan di Indonesia pada saat barang itu dikeluarkan dari pabriknya ya.
Ya, betul. Ya, jadi pengenaan cukai atas barang kena cukai di Indonesia itu harus dibayarkan saat barang tersebut keluar dari pabrik atau dari tempat penyimpanan. Nah, jadi ini this is about when we have to pay the excise. Ya. Jadi pada saat barangnya itu keluar dari pabrik atau dari tempat penyimpanan. Okay, thank you. Next, probably Alvina Rizkia Cindy.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, bullet point 2. Read first in English and then explain in bahasa.
Okay, ma'am. Excise duty on imported accessible goods is paid when the accessible goods are imported for use. Mungkin secara garis besarnya cukai yang dipungut dari impor dipungut saat barangnya diimpor untuk digunakan.
Betul, ya. Jadi cukai atas barang impor, barang kena cukai yang diimpor, ya, itu harus dibayarkan pada saat diimpor untuk dipakai. Jadi in customs, ya, we know the terms imported for use, atau in bahasa impor untuk dipakai. Jadi itu artinya pada saat dikeluarkan dari kawasan pabean. Ya. Jadi kalau yang bullet point, the first bullet point is about the excise payment for excise goods produced in Indonesia. Yeah, we have to pay when it is released from the factory or the storage place. So as long as they are still in the factory or in the storage place, we don't need to pay the excise. But when we take out from that places, then we have to pay the excise. While for the imported accessible goods, yeah, we have to pay when we are clearing those goods from customs. Okay, 4.3. Probably Bima sudah belum ya, Bima? Bima Alpha.
Yes, Miss.
Sudah belum? Can you read point 3?
Point 3.
Ya, bullet point. Yang ketiga, the third bullet point.
Yang repayment ya, Miss?
Yes.
Okay. Repayment of excise by way of payment is made by paying the excise before the accessible goods are removed from the factory, storage place, temporary storage place, or bonded storage place.
Jadi in bahasanya ini pembayaran cukai dengan metode pembayaran ini harus dilakukan sebelum barang kena cukai itu dipindahkan dari pabrik, tempat penyimpanan, kemudian temporary storage place atau tempat penimbunan sementara, atau tempat penimbunan berikat, bonded storage place. Ya. Oke, selanjutnya, nah yang ini kan pembayaran, yang third bullet point ini kan payment dengan melalui pembayaran. Kalau third bullet point keempat, coba kita minta tolong Fazle Maula.
Payments by attaching size stamp are carried out by affixing the appropriate excise stamp and affixing them in accordance with the provision of laws and regulations in the field of excise before the accessible goods are removed from the factory, temporary storage place, when the storage place or place of manufacture of accessible goods abroad. In bahasa pelunasan cukai itu dengan cara pelekatan pita cukai yang dilakukan dengan melekatkan pita cukai yang seharusnya dilekatkan sesuai dengan ketentuan peraturan perundang-undangan di bidang cukai sebelum barang kena cukai itu dikeluarkan dari pabrik, TPS atau tempat penimbunan sementara, terus tempat penimbunan berikat atau tempat pembuatan barang kena cukai di luar negeri.
Oke. Ya. Terima kasih. Kemudian selanjutnya mungkin bisa minta tolong Givel Kawatu.
Yes, ma'am.
Ya.
Payment of excise other excise payment marks is carried out by affixing other excise payment mark which are appropriate and affixed in accordance with the provision of the law and regulation in the field of excise. Before excisable goods are removed from the factory, temporary storage place, bond storage place, and or other of manufacture, excisable goods abroad. In bahasa, berarti membayar cukai dengan bukan tanda pelunasan cukai lainnya, digunakan dengan bukan tanda pelunasan cukai yang sesuai dengan ketentuan peraturan perundang-undangan di bidang cukai sebelum barang kena cukai itu dikeluarkan dari pabrik, dari TPS, dari tempat penimbunan berikat, atau tempat pembuatan barang kena cukai di luar negeri.
Ya, terima kasih. Ya. This is about the excise steps, yeah. How we apply for these excise steps. Yeah. So the tobacco product excise steps at the Central Customs and Excise Office. This is for excise steps for all types tobacco products. Yeah. This is actually quite administrative. Yeah, they can apply using the CK1. This is the form of customs document. Yeah. So for the excise steps, so we have to apply to the Central Customs and Excise Office. But the manufacturers or importers, they can submit requests if they want to change the locations for getting the excise stamps or the excise stamps. Okay. Sorry, this is sometimes the translation using reborn, but actually this is the excise state, so it's the same, yeah. So this is how to order and pay the excise stamps. First, we have to request, yeah, using this form P3C, yeah, and then submit using the CK1 or the CK1A, yeah, and then we make the payment, yeah, and then after make the payment, then we can collect the excise stamps. This is for the postponement. Yeah, it is allowed to postpone of the excise payment. Yeah, this postponement granted for the following periods. Yeah, 2 months from the date of order for the excise steps. This is for factory, but for importers, the postponement is only for 1 month. Yeah. But for certain entrepreneurs, yeah, they may enjoy 90 days. This is just information for the postponement ceilings atau batasannya, ya. So for factory entrepreneurs, they only 3 times based on the orders of the excise states within the last 6 months or the last 3 months. And this is for the importers. But for factory in industrial centers, they may enjoy postponement 4.5 times, yeah, for the highest average excise. Okay, and this is these are the requirements. Yeah, as long as they do not have excise debt, yeah, excise shortage, no administrative sanction. Yeah. So also they don't receive any warning letters within 12 months and have a confirmation of taxpayer with a valid status. Okay, I think this is for the exercise. Probably we can talk another topic for exercise. Before that, any questions? If not, probably we can talk a bit about the restitution of excise. Yeah, this is the Ministry of Finance 113, 2008. Yeah, and this is still valid. This is about the restitution. This is still in Bahasa, yeah. I haven't translated it to English, yeah. But we can still discuss in English for this excise restitution. So for the definition, the excise stamps or excise tapes, this is the security documents as the payment proofs. And they have special specification and special design. We can imagine the excise tapes is like a materai, yeah? The stamp duty that we sometimes use, yeah, for legal documents. So these excise stamps, they have the value, yeah. And sometimes the excise stamps are broken or not used. So for example, we order like, for example, 200 million stamps, but 2 million stamps we don't use, yeah. So we can get refund for the tapes that we no longer use, yeah. Because every year we have to order new stamps. So this is we use the PBCK4, yeah, to inform customs about the excise stamps that broken or not used. Then we would like to get the refund or restitution. Previously, we talked about the CK1 when we would like to order the excise stamps, right? And this is the when we order, but then when we would like to have a refund, yeah, we have to return the excise stamps using the CK3. Yeah. So when we return the excise stamps which are broken or no longer used, then we use the CK3. Okay. So next, probably I need help to read the bullet point number 5. Marissa Fidela Aurelia Nuramada.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can you read the 5th bullet point?
Berita acara pemeriksa back one adalah dokumen cukai yang digunakan sebagai bukti hasil pemeriksaan atas barang kena cukai atau pita cukai.
Can you translate into English or paraphrase using English? What is this document, the BACK1?
Wait.
What is BACK1? This is actually the examination memorandum, ya, atau berita acara pemeriksaan. Ya. For what? As the result of the examination.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we return the excise stamps, then there will be a examination memorandum, yeah, as the proof that they already do the examination of the excise states. Okay, next. Michael Parulian Marbun.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can you read the next bullet point? Biaya pengganti.
Yes.
And then paraphrase using English.
So for the first, I read in bahasa, right?
Yes.
Oke, biaya pengganti penyediaan pita cukai adalah biaya yang harus dibayar oleh pengusaha pabrik atau importer atas pengembalian pita cukai yang rusak atau tidak dipakai yang telah direalisasikan dengan CK1 dan CK1A. So in English, it means, wait a minute, fees for replacement of excise stamp is a fee to be paid by the manufacturer or importer for the return of the excise stamp, factory or importer for the return of damaged or unused excise tax that has been realized with CK1 and CK1A.
Okay. Yeah. So this is like the replacement cost, because when government produce these excise stamps, of course there is a cost, production cost for the stamps. So we have to pay this production cost of the excise stamps. Yeah. And then, do we know what is the difference CK1 and CK1A? This is actually the documents for ordering the excise stamps. Anyone want to share what is CK1 and what is CK1A? So CK1 is actually for ordering the excise stamps for tobacco products, and CK1A is excise stamps for alcoholic drinks. That's the difference. Okay, so we discussed the next bullet point. Muhammad Atska Isma Paramadana.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, next bullet point.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
The seventh, yang ketujuh, pengembalian cukai atas pita cukai yang rusak.
Oke, pengembalian cukai atas pita cukai yang rusak atau tidak dipakai yang belum dilekatkan pada barang kena cukai yang pelunasan cukainya dilaksanakan dengan cara pelekatan pita cukai diberikan kepada pengusaha pabrik atau impor.
Yeah, so this is just an information, yeah, that the refund of excise excise stamps which is broken or not used, which are not sticked to the goods, then will be granted to the factory or the importer. Okay. Next. Nadira Keisa. Nadira Keisa.
Yes, ma'am. Pita cukai yang dapat dikembalikan dengan mendapatkan pengembalian cukai merupakan pita cukai yang dipesan dalam tahun anggaran yang sedang berjalan dan atau dalam 1 tahun terakhir sebelum tahun anggaran yang sedang berjalan.
Yeah. So this is about the excess things that can be refunded. Yeah. If it's in the current budget year, yeah, or 1 year or the last 1 year, yeah, before the current budget year. Jadi kalau yang sudah terlalu lama-lama nggak bisa lagi. So usually the entrepreneur they will check the stock of the excess stamps. If broken and no longer used, they will regularly claim for the refund. Okay, next probably Rama Pratama.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Pita cukai yang rusak merupakan pita cukai yang belum dilekatkan pada barang kena cukai dalam hal yang pertama kurang sempurna fisik dan cetakannya, dan yang kedua tidak sesuai pesanan.
Can you explain in English?
In English, ma'am?
Yes.
Damaged excise stamps are excess stamps that have not been attached to accessible goods. In the case of, the first is not physically perfect, and the second is not according to the order.
Yes, thank you. Next. Renita.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can you repeat?
Pita cukai yang tidak dipakai merupakan pita cukai yang belum dilekatkan pada barang kena cukai dalam hal A. Adanya perubahan harga jual eceran, tarif cukai, dan atau desain pita cukai akibat dari kebijakan pemerintah maupun
Okay. Halo? Kok saya nggak dengar, putus ya? Yang lain, halo? Ada yang dengar suara saya? Halo?
Yes, ma'am.
Kayaknya
I
terputus
think,
ya?
Renita and
Oke. Itu kayaknya dipakai ulang. Okay, this is about the excess themes that has not been stick to the accessible goods. Yeah. And the definition of unused excess stamps, if there is a change in the retail selling price, in the excess rates, or in the excise design, because of the government regulation or initiatives, or because of the request from the the factory entrepreneurs or the importers. And then because of the expiry date for the sticking the excess stamps. Or another reason why they don't use these stamps is because the factory is no longer producing these excise goods. Therefore, there will be unused excise stamps that can be refunded. And also there are other reasons. Yeah, this is the same, yeah, that the factory doesn't produce the accessibles any longer as the excess stamps they have. And then the importer no longer import the excess goods. Or the last one is because their excise entrepreneur number was cancelled. Okay. For the next bullet point, probably I would like to ask Syahla Salsabila Tiona.
Yes, ma'am.
Pita cukai rusak.
Pita cukai rusak dapat diberikan pengembalian cukai dengan ketentuan pita cukai masih dalam bentuk lembaran disertai dengan label pengawasan atau etiket kemasan pita cukai.
Can you help to explain in English?
The match excise tape can be given a refund with the excise tab still stipulated in the form of a sheet accompanied by a supervision label or packaging etiquette or the custom ribbon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Valerie, Evangeline?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, can you help?
Pita cukai tidak dipakai dapat diberikan pengembalian cukai dengan ketentuan pita cukai masih dalam bentuk lembaran sesuai yang dikirim dari pencetak pita cukai. So in English, the excise tax unused can be given excise refunds if the excise tax is in sheets that are sent by the
excess stamps printing party ya mungkin ya.
Yeah, the excess stamp printing party.
Okay, thank you. So the next one, this is about the excise refund will be granted after the excise stamps returned to the customs through the head of Customs Services Office. And then to return the broken or unused, the entrepreneur or importer, they have to submit the PBCK4 to the head of the Customs Services Office. And this PBCK4 must be supported with the following documents. The matrix asal, so the source of the CK1, remember CK1 is the ordering form, when we order for the excise stamps. For this PBCK4, yeah, must be separate, must be submitted separated, yeah, or must be filed separated for each the excise stamps broken and unused. Ya. Jadi yang mana yang rusak dan mana yang tidak dipakai itu dipisahkan. So the PBCK4 is like application form for the refund. The next steps, yeah, after receiving the PBCK4, then the head of Customs Services Office will appoint their officer, yeah, to do the examination, yeah, which this examination, as we read before, yeah, will be put in the BSCK1. BSCK1, this is the Memorandum of Examination of the excise stamps. In the BSCK1, the Memorandum of Examination, it will mention about the quantity and type of the excise stamps returned, and what is the physical condition of the excise stamps which are returned, and then they will identify which excise stamps fulfill the criteria for this refund and which excise stamps cannot fulfill the criteria. After that, the head of the Customs Services Office, they will issue a letter about the refund, to the DG of Customs. This is the surat pendapat or the recommendation letter. So the Customs Services Office who received the excise stamps and already do the examination, they will make a recommendation letter to the DG of Customs, that the excise stamps have fulfilled the criteria, because previously they already separated which one fulfill and not fulfill. They only give recommendation for those who fulfill the criteria. And this surat pendapat or recommendation letter will explain about the reasons for the refund of excise stamps, the quantity and type of excise stamps, and then the amount of excise that are refunded. And then also the replacement cost or the production cost of the stamp. So usually how much is the excise stamp? Then will be deducted with the biaya pengganti or replacement cost, or in this case is the production cost. And for this recommendation letter from the Customs Service Office, it will be attached with the PBCK4. PBCK4, if we remember, this is for the application of the refund. And then the CK1, the source of the CK1, when we ordered the excise stamps. Also with the BSCK1, this is the examination memorandum. When they check the fulfillment of criteria for the excise stamps. And then also with the excise stamps returned by the entrepreneur or the importer. And this is the other criteria. In the case that the excise stamps returned because of the expiry date of the excise stamps, then there should be a berita acara pencacahan. This is like a stock take memorandum of the excise stamp. Jadi berita cukainya itu harus dihitung berapa. Jadi ada berita acara penghitungannya. And this is the procedure. Probably I need help again. Zara Fakira?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can you help?
Direktur melalui Kasubdit Pelunasan dan Pengembalian Cukai atas nama Direktur Jenderal berdasarkan surat pendapat pengembalian pita cukai A. Menerbitkan CK3 dalam hal diberikan pengembalian cukai, atau B. Menerbitkan surat pemberitahuan tidak diterbitkan CK3 beserta alasannya dalam hal tidak diberikan pengembalian cukai.
Can you explain, please?
In English, Director through the head of Subdirectorate for Excise Repayment and Refunds on behalf of the Director General, based on the opinion letter on the return of excise stamps, A, issue CK3 in the case of a refund of excise duty, or B, issue a notification letter of non-issuance of CK3 along with the reasons in the case that excise tax refund is not provided.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Okay. Ya, almost all ya. Siapa yang belum? Kalau nggak saya minta tolong lagi Aisyah Dwi Putri Maharani.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read and explain?
I'm sorry, ma'am. Poin berapa ya? Tadi, maaf.
Yang kedua.
Oke. Terhadap CK3 terlebih dahulu digunakan untuk melunasi utang cukai pelunasan pabrik atau importir dalam hal pengusaha pabrik atau importir tidak memiliki utang cukai atas permintaan pengusaha pabrik atau importir terhadap CK3, dapat A. diperhitungkan untuk pemesanan pita cukai berikut, atau B. dikembalikan kepada pengusaha pabrik atau importir dengan penerbitan surat perintah membayar kembali cukai atau SPMKC.
Would you like to try explain it in English? So CK3 is actually the refund approval, yeah. But before giving the approval, the CK3, yeah, they will use the amount of refund, the refund amount, to pay for the excise debts, yeah, or if any payable to the customs. But in the case that they don't have the entrepreneurs or the importer doesn't have any payable, then for this refund amount, they can calculate with the next order of the excise stamps, or refund it or give the restitution to the entrepreneur or the importer by issuing the SPMKC. surat perintah membayar kembali. This is like an order to pay, to repay. Okay. Next, probably balik lagi ke Muhammad Ikhwani.
Yes, ma'am.
Ya,
Sorry.
yang ketiga, bullet point ketiga. The third bullet point.
Oke. Terhadap pengembalian pita cukai yang rusak atau tidak dipakai yang telah diterbitkan CK3 dikenakan biaya pengganti. Biaya pengganti atas pengembalian pita cukai yang rusak sebesar Rp0, maksudnya Rp0 untuk setiap keping pita cukai.
Yeah. Okay, can you explain in English?
I'm sorry, I can explain it in English very well, but I will try. The return of I'm sorry, Miss Anna. Yeah.
So yeah, probably I can help.
Okay, thank you, Miss Anna.
Yeah, the broken excise tabs or unused excise tabs, which already the CKT already issued. Also will be imposed replacement cost, or as I mentioned before, this is the production cost. But for the excise stamps broken, yeah, the replacement cost is 0. So it means for the broken one, there is no replacement cost. Biaya pengganti dan okay, I will confirm on this, yeah, but this is for the broken, yes, for the broken one is 0, but then this is for the unused. This is the replacement cost. They have the tariff. It depends on the type of the excise tax. Yeah. So the replacement cost must be paid before the CK3. And then the refund of the excise, yeah, will be done electronically if the customs office already used the application system, or manually. Yeah. But in practice, most of cases right now they will use electronic. Okay. I think this is about the refund. Yeah. I think that's all the topics for today, yeah, for the exercise. And this is the last session, yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So when will be the final test, final exam?
The final exam will be next week, ma'am.
Okay. Let me check with Bu Indri, yeah, whether the test for exercise will be in English or in Bahasa, but I think in my opinion it will be in Bahasa. Yeah, let me check with Bu Indri. Okay, I will share the materials also for the previous sessions. If I haven't sent, I will send. And good luck ya for the examination. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jadi kita akhiri kuliahnya hari ini ya.